also, what does it mean for the upcoming budget of national government to be dealing with all this turbulence, to be dealing with global turbulence, to be dealing with the national turbulence? How do you think that is going to affect the upcoming national budget?
Well, it's already affecting us already. I mean, the bottom line is we have a very difficult situation. The ANC's made a lot of promises, and to be fair to them, they delivered a lot in terms of redistribution. But you cannot keep redistributing unless you get the growth. And they can't seem to get the growth going. So what government needs to do is get the growth. That doesn't mean we have to get the rich get richer, but the middle class has to get stronger, and the growth has to be in more jobs and more opportunities. Now the question for government is, how do you get jobs? The problem for government, number one, is government can only create an environment. So they might be able to create a nice little oasis in a desert. But just because you have an oasis doesn't mean you're going to create business. So all they can do is improve the business climate. And it requires two things. One is improving the climate, but there's still the issue of making sure that you don't have political risk. And that's why helping out the poor and making sure the lower middle classes are protected is important. So on the one hand, you got to get growth, and the other hand, you got to get some redistribution, a very hard combination.
Do you think we have what it takes to eventually get to a balanced solution?
I think we can, and we have the skills. And we have a lot of hope. We've got a lot of good people here. Our biggest problem is our institutional structures are not supporting it. So a lot of times people criticize this about government, criticize that about government, but it's really not so much individuals within government. The current structural system that we set up is not constructive to achieve the results we really want. And basically strategy follows that construct, and that construct is not effective.
So what do we do about the construct?
Well, I think
do we just go ahead merrily with the construct and then hope that things miraculously change with the current construct? Or do we humble ourselves and say, you know what, the construct is not working, let's see if we change that, how we would be better, better bring the lives of ordinary South African citizens?
Look, I think if we could change the structure, that would be good. And I don't think it's about humbling yourself. The difficulty is you created a construct and certain people are benefiting from that construct. Yes. And I'm not saying in a malevolent way. A lot of times I like my job, and if it's against the construct, I will protect it, no matter who I am and where I am. So you need almost a bit of I would say a law reform commission or some sort of commission to say, let's look at our institutions and see if they're doing what we want. And that is dialogue worth having. But it's not about criticizing individuals with government. It's the structures that are leading to it. So part of the problem is the way the party works, the way the government works within itself. So forget the party. The way the departments work with each other, the way the agencies work with departments, the number of state-owned enterprises and how they're working. All of those are structural problems that are beyond political individuals. And that's what needs to be changed.
Because the structure obviously affects the processes.
Yes.
And the processes can't be working if they not working within the proper structures.
Absolutely. They say form follows strategy, or strategy follows form, one of those. But that's where the real problem is. And I think the difficulty is we rush to our democracy, oddly enough here. Because I think the democracy was a very unifying thing. And from a very good point of view, the country itself had a very good unified view, and I think it freed a lot of people. But the difficulty is we didn't realize how we were going to look 10 to 20 years later. And that's where the trouble stops. It's not about one group winning another, but understanding that you're creating hidden incentives in the system. And those hidden incentives are not in our best interest in the long run.